In the eyes of onlookers, celebrity might seem like a fairy tale of boundless opportunities, sparkle, and glamour.
When no one is looking, though, the truth can be significantly more nuanced.
Mayim Bialik's career brought joy to millions with her witty banter and eccentric charisma.
I have never encountered someone as shallow and self-absorbed as you, Sheldon.
Did you honestly believe that another see-through manipu? Oh, look. It's a tiara.
She became a cherished television star because to her breakout appearance in Blossom and her remarkable tenure on The Big Bang Theory. But Bialik's path has been paved with obstacles, personal issues, and surprises, even when she's not in the limelight.
Farrah Amy. A tour of the bright lights and dark corners of Hollywood. When Amy Farrah was cast as Beach's younger self, her rise to fame started.
She captivated audiences and industry insiders with her irresistible on-screen charisma from an early age. Her breakout role on the hit NBC comedy Blossom came as a result of her early success.
The 5-season sitcom was a smashing success because to her endearingly eccentric and approachable persona.
Despite her success, she frequently battled thoughts of being different. Millions of people witnessed a self-assured young actress illuminating their screens. It wasn't merely due to her early start in Hollywood, as she would later disclose.
Beyond that, it went much deeper. Getting the part on The Big Bang Theory seemed like a fairy tale. As a result of the show's meteoric rise to fame, Amy became a household name and a top Hollywood celebrity.
An astounding feat by any standard, her earnings per episode reached $425,000 by the time the series concluded in 2019.
However, things weren't always as dazzling as they appeared behind the scenes. Amy said, "I don't know if I felt normal growing up," in an interview with Yahoo Entertainment.
Growing up, I was never sure whether I felt normal. That being said, I do not believe it was related to my status as a child actor.
It seems like my family is quite unique. My folks came to the United States as immigrants.
As the daughter of first-generation Jewish immigrants, she said, her experiences as a child star weren't the only thing that made her feel alone. The disparity between her life on set and her life at home, where English was not the main language, was striking.
I felt completely out of the ordinary, she confessed. Everything about me felt off.
Although it would be reasonable to assume that Amy's appearance on a hit TV show would have alleviated her feelings of isolation, the polar opposite was true.
She conceded that being on TV didn't assist with that.
I was much more of an outcast as a result.
Having a prominent public profile is unusual.
Even while she was on Blossom, she felt different. A program that differentiated itself from the standard sitcoms of that time. Jenna Von Oy, Amy's former co-star, and Amy herself explored the groundbreaking nature of their characters' dynamic on their podcast. Something that set our show apart, Amy thought, was that it revolved around me, the female lead, and the fact that I didn't look like other TV actresses.
Our show was unique since it revolved around me, a female character who didn't resemble the typical TV heroine. Because focusing a television program on adolescent girls was so novel at the time, the network first considered casting the main character as a guy.
Amy continued by saying that she and other characters like her typically played the supporting role on television, but that Blossom gave her a chance to shine. Because of this new format, network officials weren't sure how to promote the show, and that feeling quickly spread beyond the executive suite.
Unrelenting criticism, mostly focused on Amy's appearance, became her target.
They were confused about how to handle us, and I've carried the scars of the cruel comments made about my looks since I was 14 years old with me. Was a 1994 sketch of Saturday Night Live that parodied Blossom.
Cast member Melanie Hutzel played Amy's role, but the skit devolved into something much more unpleasant than an impersonation.
A huge prosthetic nose accentuated Amy's features, giving Hutzel an unflattering rather than comical air. Amy wrote about how she wished no one would have noticed that all of her high school pals watched Saturday Night Live in an article for Variety.
It was overt. I was embarrassed since they would all see it.
Those formative moments remained influential long after the career took off and the millions of admirers poured in. They had a profound impact on her self-perception and her ability to handle the spotlight.
What happens, then, when those scars remain and have an impact on more than simply confidence?
Frequently cast the darkest shadows on one's thoughts. Follow along as we reveal the inner turmoil that causes Hollywood's A-listers to hide their smiles. A fight for mental wellness. When it comes to her personal challenges, Amy Farrah has never been shy about discussing her mental health.
In an episode of her podcast, she discussed how, despite treatment, her anxiety frequently interfered with filming The Big Bang Theory.
Many of us, including myself, have been rather outspoken about the fact that we struggled with mental health as children. Sometimes, her performance would remain off-kilter despite her best efforts. Despite her achievements, Amy struggled with uncertainty. She took a break from acting after Blossom to get a doctorate in neuroscience, although she was never truly out of Hollywood. Unexpectedly, a guest appearance on The Big Bang Theory in 2010 became her biggest break in the industry. She was just trying to get a job that would pay enough for health insurance.
But being famous didn't make her problems go away. Perform on a hit show, and the pressure will only increase her uneasiness. She confessed that her anxiety level is really high when it comes to acting. She was overwhelmed by even the slightest uncertainty.
She struggled with more than just anxiety with her mental health. She spoke up about her lifelong battle with mental illness, vowing to end the stigma associated with it. She wished for everyone to know that fame and fortune can't buy you immunity.
That wasn't the end of Amy's problems, either. Another unforeseen obstacle threw her life into disarray at the same time she was figuring out how to control her anxiety.
Amy also opened out about her experience with OCD, or obsessive-compulsive disorder. The internalizing aspect is the obsession, and the externalizing aspect is the compulsion, she explained. In a public service announcement, PSA, filmed for the Child Mind Institute, she acknowledged that her issues with obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD, as a child continue to impact her ability to attempt new things.
But it has helped to trust other people and accept their support. Alteration is conceivable. There is value in change. And it's alright even when it's terrifying.
Another one of Amy's deeply personal battles was her eating disorder, which she revealed in 2021. A strong confession was made by her during her podcast interview with author Glennon Doyle. As someone who has an eating disorder, I am not ashamed to admit it. Also, for the first time ever, I openly admit that I have an eating disorder in this episode.
Therefore, that will be revealed during the interview.
She went on to explain how she would eat discreetly, numbing herself emotionally with food.
In private, I tend to overindulge. So that I won't have to feel anything, I'm eating.
She had never before spoken about it in public like this.
A lot of people have asked why you're so overweight.
The reason being, she said, that she is a restricted eater, anorexic, and a compulsive overeater. She went on to say that she had been sober for over 2 years after seeking therapy. After seeing Doyle's honesty about her challenges, Amy decided to expose this element of her life, even though she hadn't intended to. She said, "There's no quick fix for brain health," when asked why she felt the need to tell her story.
There simply isn't any. Maintaining a healthy brain requires constant effort.
However, life threw her another curveball right as she was beginning to recover, and this one almost destroyed her.
How can a single instance of terrible luck intersect with ongoing adversity?
In this article, we will reveal the startling circumstances of the vehicle collision that altered the course of events.
Amy Farrah, an unyielding spirit and a near-tragic accident. Amy Farrah was traveling through Los Angeles in August 2012 when an unexpected collision occurred.
She suffered serious injuries to her thumb and left hand from the force of the hit. To determine if surgery was necessary, paramedics transported her to a neighboring hospital in a flash. Amy swiftly informed supporters on X that she was in pain but would keep her fingers crossed, despite the suffering. She was touched by the outpouring of support, but disturbed by the speed with which people turn genuine incidents into internet sensations. She confided in Vanity Fair that it's tough to go through something so openly.
Everyone starts filming an automobile collision the moment they notice it. Amy still chose to publish very limited updates since she treasured her privacy.
"It hurts, but all my fingers work," she affirmed while speaking with Extra.
"I am grateful that I am not hurt." At a pivotal point in her career, Amy was involved in an accident.
With her recent Emmy nomination, she was finally starting to get the recognition she deserved for her performance in The Big Bang Theory.
My ambivalence leads me to say that the critic has chosen Big Bang Theory.
But she didn't let her injuries stop her. She went back to work as soon as the doctors gave her the go-ahead. "I adore my job," she exclaimed. "Two of my friends are Jim Parsons and Melissa Rauch.
All I wanted was to hang out with my friends." Separation and steadfast resilience.
Over the course of her life, Amy Farrah has experienced both the highs and lows that have shaped her character.
She wed Michael Stone, a man she met during her time at UCLA, in 2003. Their Jewish ceremony had a Victorian theme, creating a one-of-a-kind combination of tradition and nostalgia. Amy's decision to wear a gown from bygone eras was a sentimental ode to romance and a sign of the kind of life they wanted to have together. They became a family over time, and 2 sons were born into it. Their marriage ended in the end, though, despite all the memories they shared and the years they spent together. Amy announced their divorce in a moving blog post after being married for over 10 years. Considering the effects on their children, she did not sugarcoat the harsh truth of their breakup. And children will find it completely confusing. "We didn't make this decision lightly," she wrote, describing the mental and emotional toll of breaking up with him. But Amy and Michael were committed to co-parenting even though it hurt emotionally. Amy kept her children's welfare as her top priority after the divorce, and she and Michael worked hard to provide them a safe and loving home. Over time, Amy opened up about the ups and downs of her co-parenting dynamic with Michael. She highlighted that having all of her children's relatives together for special occasions only makes their life better, emphasizing the significance of keeping in touch with loved ones even when they are apart. Michael had to learn to handle socially uncomfortable events, such as moving in with his new girlfriend. Understood the significance of being present for her children in ways that may not always be easy, so she welcomed these moments despite the difficulty. The role of mother has always played an important part in Amy's life, regardless of how it turned out. Holidays spent surrounded by the joy, mayhem, and love of a large family were once her wildest dreams. However, the truth was very different. Particularly her first son was like a Velcro baby, always wanting to be held or attended to. Amy learned her patience's limitations when her second child exhibited comparable conduct. She came clean about her decision to stop having children at the age of 33, after having a toddler and an infant who relied on her entirely. Feelings of melancholy and remorse accompany this tough decision. "Yes, I wanted 11 children." She questioned why she lacked the patience to see things through. "An 11-child family was my dream. I ask God why He hasn't given me the patience to bear 11 children. Lord, I beg you, grant me the patience to bear 11 children." Amy became a prominent figure in the parenting community despite the fact that she was torn between her aspirations for a large family and the responsibilities of being a mother. She wrote extensively on subjects such as mental health, childbirth, and parenting, and she also maintained a blog and podcast. Many people liked her candor, while others didn't agree with her on everything. Much controversy ensued as a result of her support for home births, natural childbirth, and the denial of hormonal birth control. Advocating attachment parenting practices, such as sharing a bed with an infant, was one of her most contentious positions. Can you explain attachment parenting? Attachment parenting, then, is a catch-all phrase. It's not a black and white phrase. She faced criticism from those who were worried about her safety. The story of Amy Farrah's fortitude in the face of tragedy. A strong influence on Amy Farrah's ideals and sense of self came from her Jewish childhood, which she experienced in a loving, close-knit family. She grew up in a home where religion, family, and community were paramount, as the daughter of first-generation immigrants to New York. But tragedy came in April 2015 when, after a protracted struggle in hospice care, Amy's father passed away. The actor broke the news to her followers in a blog post on her Cavalier site, where she discussed the devastating loss of her father and the emotional complexity she felt after months of preparing for it. Though it's never easy to lose a loved one, Amy's sadness served as a catalyst for profound creativity, and she made her directing debut in the 2022 film As They Made Us. Her family's journey through her father's illness and death served as inspiration for the semi-fictional project. The story revolves around a lady who is going through a divorce and attempting to juggle the care of her children and aging parents. Through themes that mirror the harsh truth of seeing the gradual deterioration of a cherished someone. "Dying is the hard part," Amy said. "Death itself is not tough. Nothing compares to the pain of nursing a dying parent." The film was filled with genuine emotion and honesty, reflecting Amy's pain and personal loss. It was a powerful way for her to transform her sorrow into art. Impacted her grieving journey as well. She followed the Jewish custom of mourning for a whole year, called Shloshim, because she was an Orthodox Jew living in the modern era. In the year following her father's passing, she reflected, grieved, and reconnected with her faith. "After that year, it's kind of like a veil lifts," Amy said in an interview. "It unquestionably shaped her reality, imbuing her ideas and deeds with profound emotional resonance."
While going through this difficult time, she found creative solace in the birth of As They Made Us, which helped her cope with her loss. However, Amy had to bear more than just her sorrow. Call Me Kat is a Fox comedy about a lady who leaves her teaching job to start a cat cafe.
Amy made her television comeback in 2022, after The Big Bang Theory ended with the show.
Even though it aired for 3 seasons, the show's popularity caused the production to suffer yet another tragic setback.
Actor Leslie Jordan, who had a devoted fanbase thanks to his roles on Will and Grace, died in a vehicle accident in October 2022. Appearing as Phil, the chief chef of the eatery,
Amy was profoundly saddened by the unexpected passing of Leslie.
"They broke the mold when they made Leslie Jordan," she wrote in an emotional Instagram tribute.
"He was cherished for his role as a guide and companion." While appearing on The Jennifer Hudson Show, Amy opened up about how difficult it was to find out about Leslie's death on set. "Everyone was waiting for him to arrive at the office. Having the entire cast and crew there was quite challenging," she revealed. "It was something that happened out of nowhere. As a group, we were all waiting for him to arrive at the office. Because of this, it was extremely intricate." Amy was already going through a rough patch in her life when her close friend and colleague Leslie passed away. Even though Amy suffered a loss, she persisted in making art, performing, and speaking out. She is strong and resilient because she is able to turn her personal problems into her profession and keep going. While she battled with her own sorrows, she also grew more famous for other reasons, such as her outspoken feminism and her position against internet abuse.
However, to what extent did she actually stand up for herself?
Pitted against the difficulties of dealing with the criticism she has received online due to her opinions.
Through the public eye, Amy Farrah's story unfolds.
Amy Farrah has never stopped being divisive, frequently sparking arguments and receiving criticism on social media. Many people have reacted violently to her candor regarding her personal and professional convictions. Her opinion piece in the New York Times in 2017 was a major source of controversy. A lot of people took issue with Mayim Bialik's opinion piece in the New York Times, in which she essentially argued that women would be better off if they dressed modestly and avoided being too flirty with males. Where she discussed her thoughts on the Me Too movement. The article was Amy's own account of surviving in a society where harassment is all too prevalent and the measures she took to protect herself. The crux of her position was that, even in a fallen world, women might help lessen harassment by doing things like dressed modestly and acting conservatively.
Some people were quick to criticize Amy, claiming that she was victim-blaming.
This was particularly true among feminist groups. The criticism she received was based on the assumption that she was implying that victims of abuse might share some responsibility for the perpetrator's actions. She faced backlash from those who thought she disregarded the reality that sexual attraction isn't the only motivation for harassment. A desire for power and control is often at the root of the problem. Amy swiftly attempted to clarify her intentions, acknowledging the uproar she had sparked. She explained that although women should have the freedom to live their lives as they like, she was not condoning the actions of abusers. She made it clear that the harassers were the only ones to blame. The harm had already been done, though, despite her best efforts to defend herself. Also disappointed many with her apology. When she attempted to clarify her position on the poisonous atmosphere in Hollywood, her remarks were distorted and taken out of context, she subsequently acknowledged. Amy has been the target of numerous accusations and insults on social media, including this one. Her stances on vaccines and her support for Zionism have been among the many things that have brought her criticism throughout the years. Her 2012 book, Beyond the Sling, had remarks regarding vaccines that caused a great deal of controversy and subsequent outrage. Upon the topic's resurgence in 2020, Amy took to social media to explain that she had never downplayed the significance of vaccines, but rather had her own reasons for making her decisions in that regard. The criticism from individuals who don't see things from her point of view, nevertheless, frequently overpowered her defense. Many people like and despise Amy because, despite everything she's been through, she has remained vocal on numerous critical topics. In particular, her stance on feminism has ignited heated debates, with some praising her resoluteness.
But also some who claim she fails to grasp the nuances of modern women's lived realities.
Amy has grown stronger as a person and as a professional as a result of the cyberbullying she has endured. Amy has endured sacrifices on her way to resilience, despite the praise and criticism she has received for her outspoken attitude. What fascinates her fans even now is her capacity to ignore the naysayers while staying true to her principles.
But one thing remains unanswered. In what ways has this persistent cyberbullying affected her career and personal life? How, then, can one keep their calm in the face of continual criticism, particularly when monetary hardship is also present? Anyone would start to doubt their decisions when they face the demands of juggling public opinion with the facts of daily life. How does Amy keep afloat in the face of this unending tempest? If you want to know more, stay here. The unexpected obstacles and struggles in Amy Farrah's career. Despite popular belief regarding her wealth, Amy Farrah's career path has been anything but straightforward. She gave an insightful look at the 1980s acting industry on her podcast, shedding light on the realities of working on a production that bombed at the box office. According to Amy, television earnings were significantly lower in comparison to what they are now. Her earnings as a young female minor on a comedy that failed to become a smash hit were significantly lower than what most people would expect. Amy didn't go to college with the intention of becoming a self-sufficient, rich person who could retire young. In order to pay the bills, she worked really hard. She talked about her time spent working odd jobs, including tutoring, to pay for college and other necessities on her podcast. Her acting career was stable, but the money she made wasn't enough to support herself. The key to survival, like so many others, was sticking to a budget and making prudent financial decisions. The unexpected appointment of Amy and Ken Jennings as permanent co-hosts of the legendary quiz program Jeopardy! In 2021 launched a new chapter in Amy's career. Unfortunately, she was abruptly fired in December 2023, ending her tenure as host. Sony told Amy in an Instagram post that she would not be continuing as host of the syndicated version of the show. This declaration was made the day after she and author Noah Tishby published a contentious film addressing anti-Semitism and the Israel-Hamas conflict. Although there were those who expressed their approval, the video was also met with some criticism. Her abrupt dismissal has some people wondering if the timing is related. Certainly, some Jewish extremists are acting unilaterally by attacking the Palestinian people. An army of 3,000 terrorists assaulted Israel on October 7. No one from Sony nor Amy has addressed the question of whether the video was a factor in her firing. Nevertheless, given the circumstances, some have hypothesized a link. Furthermore, after she decided to abstain from the program during the 2023 writers' strike, rumors started circulating that it might have played a role in her dismissal. The news that Amy had decided to step down in solidarity with the striking Writers Guild of America was widely reported at the time. Sony executives allegedly became enraged when she failed to inform them of her decision, according to subsequent reports.